What? Where you been, dude?
Who let the dog in? Woof.
Dude,
Woof,
where you
woof.
been?
You know, it's sad when the smartest one in the room has got 4 legs.
You got to piss? You son of a bitch. Hang on.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
Episode 43 of the Play Pants podcast, brought to you by the Pirates of the Quarter Tour. If you're going to New Orleans, take the Pirate Tour. It's rated 5 stars and a shit ton of fun. Yeah, it's cool. We can swear in all our commercials. I love it. Episode 43. We got a lot to cover today, Rod. I wanted to get into something that last week we did a different sort of top 5. This week it's kind of different as well. I was digging around some shit and all of a sudden it hit me. What bands have you seen the most in all your years of going to concerts? So it's kind of like your top 5 list of the bands you've seen the most, you know, like who's your number 1 all-time band you've seen the most times? And this wasn't an easy project because I started scratching my head going, I don't remember. I don't remember at all. But luckily, Rod, so you got to watch the YouTube, by the way, available wherever you get podcasts and on our YouTube channel. I got a fishbowl. It looks like I'm about ready to go do bingo. These are all old concert ticket stubs.
Oh, I have one of those somewhere. I don't. You know what?
I should have gone.
I'm a little freaked out. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I too have a glass vase full of concert ticket stubs.
Mine's a vase. Mine's not fancy. But like, I didn't have time to do this before the podcast, which would have been way cooler.
I wish you would have told me you were bringing that out. I would have dug mine up, but I really wouldn't even know to begin.
I've got so much shit that I didn't realize I've seen over the years, and it's just flooding my memory hole right now, man. I've seen a lot of shitty bands.
The prices are on those tickets, right? I mean, do you have some? Dude,
some
Van
remember
Halen,
this one?
Motley Crew,
Toyota Center.
Toyota Center. What year? 2006.
I came in, hung out with you Friday, March 24th, 2006. Carnival of Sins tour. Oh, you know what? Big fucking radio star, cost nothing.
Oh yeah, it was a comp ticket.
But yeah, I saw them here in New Orleans, 2005. It cost, where the fuck is the cost? It cost me nothing again, big radio star. We love comp tickets back in the day, man. Holy shit.
But it is fun. It's fun to see. You got some old ones that have some ticket prices on them.
Oh, this is a good one right here. Oh, I forgot about this show. When I left New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, we could do this all night by ticket. This is crazy. I went to Dallas and stayed with some friends over there. I think after I left your house for a couple of weeks, you had enough of my shit. So we left. I went and saw the Foo Fighters and Weezer in Dallas on September 15th, 2005. $39.50 for those two bands.
That's
2005.
badass.
That was a great fucking show, man. Holy shit, was that cool? So yeah, I could go through.
Wait. That was an out. I remember that show, and that was here at the Woodlands in 05. So I remember that.
This probably was like a day or two before or after, do Dallas, do Houston. So,
but it was an outdoor show, right? Like a
the
a
shed.
pavilion type thing. They were playing all sheds that tour.
Yeah, the Smirnoff Music Center in Dallas is where that was. So, yeah, this ticket stub thing is wild, dude. I'm gonna sit here and look at these while we do the show tonight. This is great.
So you're handy, and I won't really say much nice about you, but you are somewhat handy. Jason can kind of build some things. Do you have any experience with that thick, goopy resin shit that you see like on bars? Oh, you know what? When we had your surprise birthday party, at the Friar Tuck's Den, we ride in the Tuck's parade. They have to store those floats somewhere. So they got this cool den, like it's just a huge warehouse, but they carved out like a bar type area. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. They have a bar with maybe beads and old postcards and shit like that. And then there's this thick resin over it. But I don't know how it doesn't ruin the ink on the ticket stubs. I always thought it would be a cool bar top to have all ticket stubs.
I built that bar in my backyard because that's what you do when, as a grown man, you build a bar in your backyard. I'm not gonna get into that today, but I've sat out there numerous times and I've just got like a plain top to it. It's just a wooden top. It's cool. But I've talked to people about that resin stuff you're talking about. And I had the same question. Like I could put like all our Mardi Gras doubloons and all our shit from riding over the years, all these ticket stubs I got nothing to do with, all this cool radio shit I could put backstage passes. And it'd be cool to have out there because I got just sitting in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
Same problem. Does it fuck up the ink? Because at the tuck stand, they got newspaper articles. So my guess would be no, it doesn't.
Unless there's just something overall, I don't know. But I've always kind of wondered about that. I thought it would be like the coolest bar top, or would it be just the dumbest thing? It's like, okay, dude, get over it. You're 50, in your 50s. You don't need that in your life right now. But like, do I need a coffee table? Do I need like a coffee table that's like loaded with all my ticket stubs? I don't even have ticket stubs. I don't know where they are. Dude, you got me freaked out a little bit. The whole time I'm talking, I'm wondering, where is my glass bowl of ticket stubs?
Dude, you've
I keep looking around the room thinking, okay, it's got to be here somewhere. I don't think it's in here.
Drive you nuts. I'm looking at one right now. You'll remember this show, Bush and the Goo Goo Dolls, April 13th, Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, 1996. Dude, we broadcast from that show. I think you were up there. It was awesome. Dude, I could go through these ticket stubs all night. This is so cool. Why haven't I done this before?
Well, I'll look for mine, and we might be able to do, maybe we'll even do like a special, we could do like a bonus podcast, because it might be boring as shit for us to talk about concerts, but
worse than this.
It would be kind of cool to pull them out though, just see what do you remember from that show, because it's like shit.
God damn,
you know, I don't know how my memory, it's so weird. The stuff that I do remember last week, I could talk to you about what 45 I bought and what cassette, and I'm nails on all that stuff. Concerts, when we're partying and that, then it gets really foggy. And that makes me think about Nikki Sixx, who was full on fucking on heroin. And he's written about 3 books during his time while he was railing heroin. And how do you have any memory of any of that stuff? And I guess he said he did keep diaries, but still, how much shit are you embellishing? Because I don't remember stuff, and I don't even do heroin. It's just drinking.
But that's enough to wipe you out, black you out. People have always said, and smart people, I've read it numerous times, they're like, man, keep a diary, write shit down as you go along.
Wow, it's a little fucking late for that.
It's way
dumb
too late
shits
now.
In their 50s.
It's way, way too late now. But they say to do that. Like when I take vacations, if I go somewhere, besides going to the beach, I will keep a travel diary as I'm going day to day. And I just jot down like 2 sentences of the fun points of that day. So all my vacations, I've got a little thing set back, and then I go back and read it occasionally when I find the shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot we did that. So people who keep diaries, and I'm not talking about these long drawn out, boring ass things, but just the high points of what you did that day or that week. I wish I would have done that a long time ago, because I've forgotten 90% of the shit I've done. Probably because I was drunk doing it.
I wish you would have told me that 25 fucking years ago, because I never wrote down anything. So
didn't think about it.
Great. Thanks. It'll be like my affirmations every morning. It's just not sit down and write about my shit. I just want to go and do it. I don't want to write about it.
But then and those are the arguments, well, if you did it and you have no memory of it, did you, what's the point? But
true.
I live for the moment. I'm not a guy who's taking a lot of pictures in situations. I live for the moment. I don't want
You don't take a lot of pictures. Like you never really have.
I wish I would have at certain times, because I'd have a lot of great pictures of bands and shit over the years. And I was in the moment. I was like, oh, this is great. And then now I have no pictures of any of that shit. So it's one of those weird things. Take the pictures. Do that.
All right. You want to hear an email that came through?
I always get nervous about this because I'm always waiting for someone to rip us a new ass, which we probably deserve, for one reason or another. But yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Jose, and it's cool. It seems like this would be an email that would be sent to the morning show, but he sent it specifically to the Playpants. He sent it to me and then asking if we would bring it up on Playpants. He said to run it by you. It's from Jose. And he says, somehow my kid has gotten into his head that he deserves a car for his 18th birthday. Funny. It's kind of funny. Maybe it's from friends and school or television, but I can't think of a damn thing that he's done to deserve a car. He is a C- student, does not help out around the house, no college ambition, currently not working, no desire to learn a skill. Is this common with this generation? If I were to get him one, it would definitely be a beater that I wouldn't pay more than $2,000 for. And if you have any ideas where I'm able to pick something like that up, let me know. If and when he hopefully turns things around.
Jesus.
So every situation is completely different. But what I thought was funny, I don't really know Jason's story here. I only know mine. So in New York, on your 16th birthday, a lot of people, can't say everybody because I didn't, but most people went and got their learner's permit. Jason, were you one of those that turned 16 and someone drove you down to the DMV and you got your learner's permit?
I don't know if it was that day, but it was real quick because I was super excited about being able to drive. I couldn't wait. Because
you're a car guy. I mean, you were a car guy before that. So car guys, they don't want to just turn wrenches. They want to drive cars.
Right. Plus,
so you don't think you did it on your birthday? Because I mean, I feel like all of my friends, because I didn't know you back then, I feel like all of my friends, that was a part of something you did on your birthday.
It was pretty close because I don't think I waited too long for a couple of reasons.
I mean, you might have been in school. It might have, your birthday fell during the week or whatever.
Saturday or something. But I was working probably. So I knew that it would be easier. So my parents didn't have to drive me to get to go to work, So I knew I wanted a car for that reason. And I knew I wanted to be able to drive for that reason. And then I knew I wanted to get a car. So if I don't have a license, what's the sense of having a car? So I wanted to push the process as quickly as I could without going too crazy. Cause I had to learn to drive. So my dad took me out right away. I remember it was middle of winter time and he's like, "You want to learn to drive today?" And I go, "Today?" There's fucking snow blowing across the road. There's drifts.
Your birthday's in November.
Yeah. So I'm stuck. It's, it's early December. And he goes, "Let's go. You're going to drive in New York. You're going to learn to drive like this." And I went, "Oh shit." And he goes, "Here we go." And I go, "Okay, what now?" Luckily, I kind of knew how to do everything. So we started driving and within a couple hours, man, I was rolling drifts, sliding around the place and all that stuff and never looked back. I didn't get to go take my test for quite a few months. I mean, I had a lot more practicing to do, but yeah, it wasn't too long.
So then you got your test, and then are you able to use your parents' car? I mean, they each have one. Are they cool with you taking one of their cars?
No, why would a parent ever be cool with that?
That was the situation with some of my friends. That was the situation. Clearly, I mean, I'll get into it, not mine, but if you drove, permit, you got to have a parent in the car with you.
Right.
So that's not a big deal. You're going to the mall and your mom lets you drive.
Right.
That was, I guess, the experience. Again, not mine. But once you got your license, I don't remember how long you had to have your learner's permit for. I don't remember any of that stuff.
A few months, I think 6 months, something like that.
So you get your license. What do you do with that license? Did your parents let you take their car?
They did. That day I got my license, I went and I said, "Hey, can I borrow the car? I want to go." And, I want to go drive around. And basically is what I wanted. But I came up with some shitty excuse to go to the store, buy some milk or something. I'll get it, But it was just an excuse to go drive by myself. And it was awesome. That feeling of freedom was so great and so cool. But it wasn't too many months later. I might have been 6 months late. No, the whole process took me a year between the learner's permit, getting my license, and buying my first car.
You bought your first car.
I bought my first car. So I'd been working as a busboy in a hotel and saving my money. So then I'm like, I need to buy a car because I don't want to be driving my parents. And I thought, because that was a pain in the ass, they would always fight me on everything. You're not, you just want to go drive around. Yeah, no shit. But I'd come up with some shitty excuse just so I could go drive around for a few hours,
Yeah, it was the best.
And it was great.
I imagine it probably was the best. I don't know this, but go ahead.
It was awesome. But then it's like, man, if I get my own car, I eliminate the middleman. I don't have to go and ask for my shit. I can just jump in my car and go. Now, with that came costs. And so I ended up going out and with my dad and looking in the newspaper. Back then, you looked in the newspaper, and cars weren't as expensive back then, obviously. I bought my first car for $500, which was a shit ton. That was me working for a year as a busboy to save that money up. Bought the car, brought it home, 1975 Dodge Dart 318. Totally just an old man's wagon. It wasn't a wagon, it was an old man's car. brought it home. I couldn't afford to get insurance on it or put it on the road, but I bought a car. And I had been working my ass off. And like, I thought it was maybe a week or two later. I don't remember the timeline very well. But I woke up from a nap from working, come outside, and there were license plates on my car. I'm like,
your folks stepped in.
My parents were like, look, man, you've been working your ass off. You've earned it. We put it on the road for you, which is, $70, $80 or $100 to get your license and all that shit, registration. And then they signed me up for insurance, put it on their insurance, but they said, okay, you got to pay the insurance. We signed you up. You pay the insurance. I'm like, all right, cool. So I was like, holy shit. And then I was golden, man. I had my car, had wheels. It was great. Never looked back. Still love having a car and driving. Rod, it sounds like you didn't get that experience.
No, really, everything that you said cannot relate.
Really?
Cannot relate. And I had an older sister. So Sue comes up on this podcast from time to time, and she had a different deal. Her 16th birthday, she went and got her permit. And then it was right around the time that my parents needed to buy a car. My mom needed to get a car. So she got the 1976 Nova. It wasn't a champagne Supernova, and it wasn't even a cool Nova. Like, I know you're thinking, oh, please tell me it was like a Nova SS fastback or whatever. No. It was a square, boxy Nova, not a good looking one. It was a forest green Supernova.
Yeah.
But she was given that car because the timing worked out. Right. So before you knew it, my sister's driving a car. And I'm 3 years behind. So it's summertime. My birthday's at the end of summer, and I get the book. And I get the book. You got to practice. You got to like study for the test, right? To get your learner's permit.
Right.
And the movie wasn't out yet. No, it might have been out yet, but it wasn't I'm just like Ralphie, how he's leaving these little clues around about the Red Ryder BB gun. I'm leaving the book out on purpose so that my mom knows that I'm studying for something. The book is out on purpose. It's out there on the counter in the kitchen. My mom, I have it in a place where she's got to move it so that she doesn't splatter spaghetti sauce on it. She knows that I got this book. 16th birthday rolls around. Bam, my dad comes. Let's go. Boom, we're going. My mom's like, where are you guys going? And I said, I'm going to get my learner's permit. 16, baby. That's how it works in the Ryan house, right? 16, woohoo.
Yeah, let's do that.
My mom's like, nah, you're not going anywhere. What are you going to drive? I said, I'm getting my learner's permit. Let's go. I've had the book out with my mom just flat out said, you're not going.
What?
And my parents are already split at that time. And he's not, my mom's got to hold her ground. It's her house, blah, blah, blah. My dad just kind of like starts to back away. So I'm like, bro, you're not going to help at all right now, right? So my dad, no support whatsoever. And it was over just like that. Went in my bedroom, slammed the door. There was no reason given. My mom never felt that she needed a reason. She's the parent. It's her house. That's the only reason she needed.
Yep.
So I'm 16. It doesn't happen when I turn 17. There's a whole year that goes by and there's no driving. Okay.
Whoa.
So now I'm 17. I'm going to be a senior.
Ooh.
17 comes around.
Oh no.
And I enter my senior year and I'm dating a girl that's younger than me that has a car and her license. She has a car. My girlfriend is driving me around.
You're a little bitch.
I am a bitch.
Wow.
I go through my whole senior year, no learner's permit, no license, no nothing.
Jesus
Senior
Christ.
year of high school.
You're like neutered in school, man. You got nothing going on. Holy shit.
It is now 2 months out from the prom. And I go to my dad's house and I said, I sat down, I go, bro, it's the first time I called my dad, bro, you lived with the woman. You were married to her. You must know something. How do we get this done? I cannot have my girlfriend, who's a year younger than me, drive me to my prom. That was everything. My dad got it.
Yeah.
He went and talked to my mom. Somehow my dad got it done. And we always had that bond. I'm like, bro, you totally hooked me up. I had my driver's test the week of the prom. Had I failed,
No pressure.
I mean, that's the biggest thing in your life when you're that young. You're taking that driver's test. That person that sits in there with the clipboard is the scariest human being on the planet. All of it, My dad said, offer him some gum. So I did. As soon as he gets in, I'm like, I put a piece of gum in my mouth. I go, would you like a piece? He said, no, thanks. I'm like, damn it. So I got my license and I drove to the prom. Brutal. It was, everybody was driving in their parents' cars. My mom was like, fuck no, you're not driving my car. Okay. No, you're an idiot.
So a couple questions. First of all, let me dig into this for a second because it's interesting to me. It's horrible for you, obviously, but two things I'm thinking of. First of all, she had a brand new car. She didn't want your dumbass driving a brand new car.
No, dude, some piece of shit Ford Escort.
Oh, so it wasn't like a new. Oh, you said you got a new car. The sister got the Nova. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, when I see it was new to her. I don't think it was a brand new car. It was already a shitty old Escort.
Okay. Well, let me go down this other road then.
Okay.
Were you a bit of a horse's ass between the age of like 14 to 16? Like, did you give a reason like he's a spaz? There's no fucking way I'm putting him behind the wheel of a car. Like, were you giving off those spazzy vibes? Because I could see that being a situation with a parent going, yeah. No, Sue could drive because Sue's mellow and cool and all this stuff. Rod's nuts. I'm not getting
Sue partied, man. She hit it better than me. Sue partied. Okay.
Maybe.
I'm going to say it on this podcast. My sister smoked pot. Okay. I didn't. Okay. Yes, she did. Back in the day, I'm telling you, they were all doing it. They were complete stoners. And somehow she got away with it. I'm the one that got busted with everything.
But see, that's what I'm
busted with everything.
That's what I'm getting at, though. You got busted, so maybe your mom's like, there is no way in hell.
She just didn't. For whatever reason, she didn't think I was ready. She didn't think I could handle it. Looking back on it, was she wrong? I don't know. It was just awful. It was a terrible thing. So, I've told these stories over the years on the radio, and, no car was bought for me. You didn't have a car purchased for you, even though we had completely different roundabout ways of getting to the point of finally driving. I mean, I didn't have money I got my license and my dad said I could use his car. That was the baddest. That was the coolest thing ever. It's just like, wow. I got to use my dad's car. It had power windows. I thought it was cool. Okay. Nice. I mean, my mom's Escort, you're rolling the windows. I thought my dad's car was like really nice. It really wasn't, but it had power windows. And I thought, wow, this is a really nice car. It had a hood ornament on it. I don't even know what it was, but it had a hood ornament and it had power windows. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to the prom like a boss.
Yeah. Hood ornament and all.
Yeah. And I said, I'm not coming home, right? I mean, we'll be safe and all, but I'm not like, I'll get this back to you the next day, right, dude? Are we cool on that?
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, it really, now that I think about it, I don't know how I got away with that one. I mean, we were out all night. I mean, we got a hotel room. I mean, I had sex at my prom. I had sex the night of my prom at the Bito Perry.
Jesus. Wow. You really sprung. You had power windows, a hood ornament, and a
power windows
on fucking Niagara Falls Boulevard.
I had a $25 hotel room that had a bed that you could put the quarter in and went brrr, had a vibrating bed in it. Yeah, my dad. It's like, dude, I'll bring this back to you, on Sunday morning. I'll see you Sunday morning, bro.
You have to fucking scrub the seats when I get it back. But hey, we're not going to talk about that, Oof.
Jose's kid is expecting. Well, he said that he has it in his head that he deserves a car for his 18th birthday. No job, no desire to learn a skill, doesn't help around the house. He's 18 and he's a C- student. So I'm led to believe that he's still in high school.
Right.
I think this is common with this generation. Can you get a car for $2,000? You bought your car for $500. My first car was my van, and it was $1,600.
Right.
And I took out a loan for it. I mean, I didn't have that kind of money. I think I had $500 saved up. I think you can get a car for $2,000, right? You get a beater? Do they still have beaters?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a piece of shit, but you know what? If a kid's gonna think about this, kid's 16, 17, 18 years old, pretty good odds they're gonna get it in a wreck. So why get a nice, expensive car for a kid that age? You know, that's why my parents looked at it.
But this is the way parents chime in now. Parents are cooler than our parents were. And when parents, how they justify buying their kid a car is they say, well, it's safe.
Right.
They bought this car and it's safe. They're worried. My parents had no fucking worry at all of the piece of shit that I bought.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the van was $1,600. So that was a lot of money. It was a ton of money back then. And it was kind of a cool van, but it was under the hood. It was a piece of shit. It broke down everywhere. That was not a concern of my parents that I was in a vehicle that was safe. Like they weren't going to pay for something. Even the car that my sister was sold by my mom, that thing was unsafe, but it was a car.
Right.
But now parents will say, no, I can't have my kid out there on the road. This car's not safe. It's going to break down. I can't have my kid break down.
Nah.
I can sympathize a little bit being a parent now. I mean, London's not even close to driving. But why didn't my parents love me enough to worry about me being stranded on the side of the road?
Different time, man. It was a different era.
Was it not as dangerous being stranded on the side of a road?
It's always bad to be stranded. I don't care what era it is. It sucks. It's dangerous.
Yeah, like, fuck it, I'm out there. It's the Son of Sam. You know, it ain't cool. It's not cool to be out.
You're also on the side of a road trying to change a tire. You know how dangerous that is? It's a horrible fucking idea. People get killed doing that kind of shit. That's not good either, man. There's nothing good about that.
Nothing. That did not come across my parents' thought process at all. Jason and I had winter beaters. When you had a car that was kind of nice, my van, I took it off the road, but I still needed to haul around my drums and shit. So I bought a couple of station wagons for a couple of winters. And one of them lasted me 2 winters, but we always had a $300-400 max.
Yep.
Your winter beater, you bought a car. I know it's really crazy to talk about this with people in the South. You bought a car for the winter season, a piece of shit that would just get you through the winter so that if you had a nice car, and there were some guys that had nice cars. There were young people that had Camaros, and there were young people that had cool Chevelles, and, you know, they didn't want them on the road with the elements. Up in the north, they use salt for the snow, and that's going to eat away, and that's where you're going to get rust, and you're going to get rotten out the bottom of it. So everyone bought these winter beaters. I spent $300 on a station wagon, and it's in the winter now, and I spent over a month on a donut.
Yeah.
My parents knew I was living in the basement. My mom saw my car in the donut. I had a donut on my car. My dad was well aware of it. Mm-hmm. Neither one of them volunteered to buy me a tire. How did they let me go out on the streets with a donut in the snow?
Dude, there's some hard lessons in that Ryan household, but those are good, hard lessons you learned, right?
I would never let my kid do that. I would be freaked out right now. You say it was a different time, but
was.
But what? A time of not caring? What is that time?
I think you know what? We come from the Northeast, man. Things were just tough. Things were hard up there, man. I didn't think about it. I know my mom worked in a factory. My dad worked in a dump. I mean, they're not going to really worried about if my car's got a couple fucking scratches on it, or maybe the seatbelts don't exactly work. They got their own problems. You know what I mean? Like they got their own shit going on.
Yeah, they're trying to keep their own. I mean, my dad's under the hood of his car every weekend, you know, at this time, working on it, trying to keep that sucker on the road.
My dad had a piece of shit truck for an old Blazer, and it was just constantly working on it, fixing it. There'd be enough. You couldn't find a metal coat hanger in the house because they were all out underneath his car holding the muffler on, man. You know, like you didn't have that kind of thing. So if my car had a problem, he'd be like, well, what are you going to do about it?
Figure it out.
I don't know. Help me out, you know? So it was different. Nowadays, you go to the the oil change shop to get your oil changed. Man, I used to change my damn oil. You know, that's what we did. We changed the oil. We did that shit. We changed the air filters. We changed the oil filters. We did all that stuff back then, man. You get tires, change the damn tires. You ever wrestle a tire off a rim? That sucks.
The only car work that I ever did, just because I didn't gravitate towards it, I just half a man that I am, and that's why I turned out the way that I did. I put an in-fuel filter in one of my winter beaters, and it's freezing cold. I was able to get it in the garage, and somebody told me how to do it. There's no YouTube videos or anything. But somebody told me, I went to a garage and he said, it's going to be this to do it. But he goes, really, it's not that bad. It was just an inline fuel filter.
Yep.
They probably don't even exist anymore. But it was under the car, and I did change something out. I feel like that's what I did. That's it. That was it, though. I mean, yeah, I did the same thing as you. I hangers hung because of the rust and the snow and the damn salt that just eats away all the cars. Yeah, everybody's muffler is rusted. Everybody's tailpipe and the whole damn pipe underneath. Everything's a mess underneath those cars.
But those winter beaters were some of my favorite cars. You want to know why? Because
you didn't care.
Give a shit. We used to just ram everything. Fucking, you go to a park.
Shopping carts.
Shopping cart jousting, my friend. Shopping cart jousting. I do not suggest this. You would take I used to work at a grocery store as a stock boy. So at night, in the wintertime, the parking lot is empty except for shopping carts, and the parking lot's full of snow and ice. So you go out there and you're doing donuts. Well, what do? You swing around a donut, and you would literally swing the back of your car around and just slam into a shopping cart. That shopping cart goes fucking flying. It's awesome. It was so great. You go home and your car's all wrecked in the back, and it's like, what happened to your car? Did you get in a wreck? No, all good. I don't know what happened. You just deny.
Right.
You could take, and you know what jousting is, the old way of settling a duel back then. You had those big, long, like wooden sticks, two horses.
The medieval guys on the horses.
You'd do that with shopping carts, man. You take the shopping cart, right? And you got it hanging out your door, and you're driving your car. Guys, you're literally playing chicken with your cars, and you got to hope to God you miss, but you're each dragging a shopping cart. And then as you approach each other, you let the shopping carts go right at the very last second, and you swerve away from each other. And hopefully, if you do it right, the shopping carts will fucking smash into each other at a high rate of speed.
It's insane that we did not grow up in high school together, and we did that exact same thing. The exact same thing.
We'd have been dead. We could have never met that early. We'd have been dead. We did so much dumb shit with those winter beaters, man. Me and my buddy Eric, we had these winter beaters, and we'd gotten fresh snowfall. So there's this huge church parking lot, and it was 4 or 5 inches of snow. So we go over there, and we're just fucking burning tires in the snow, doing donuts. We're doing hundreds and hundreds of donuts. Oil lights are coming on. All the warning lights are coming on. Shit's flying off my car. Hubcaps. You know, when you see a car chasing once in a while in the movies, you'll go around a turn and the hubcap flies off. Hubcaps are flying off my car. It was fucking great, man. And I didn't give a shit. I'd come home and there'd be steam and shit blowing out of the engine. I'd just twist some wrenches, fill it back up. I'm on the road again, man. And then you'd get up north, you'd get snow tires, right? And the snow tires were like really a lot of good deep tread. And some of them would have, and I don't remember this, man, they have like the little metal spikes in the tire. Studs, that's what they're called.
Yeah, they were called studded snow tires.
Little tiny nubs of metal would stick out of your tires so you could get grip on the ice, and they were awesome. You always put them on the back wheels. Back then it was all rear-wheel drive cars. Well, when there's no snow, you can light up the back tires and you're doing burnouts, because this is what we did back then. You get those things frying on the pavement good enough, all of a sudden, all the studs will start breaking loose. You got sparks, and you can hear them going ding, 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 ding under your car and all over the car behind you. I did a lot of dumb shit with cars, is what I'm getting.
There wasn't a garage in my neighborhood that didn't have a set of tires for each car in the garage. Extras. You put snow tires on, and they didn't have all season tires for some reason like they do now.
I know.
They had snow tires and then regular tires. And dads would switch that shit out. Now, if you had a little extra money, you had them in there on the rims already. So you could just like change them out like a NASCAR, but not us. My dad had the tires and he had to get the rim and all of that. Yeah, he would change out the tires on the cars.
You'd be like wrestling a bear you have multiple crowbars trying to pry the tires on.
You had a couple stacks of tires in every garage growing up.
I hated changing tires, but we do it. And you know what? I'm out there with Dad. He showed me how to do it. I can do it. Do I do it now? Hell no. I go to the shop and they do it. No. But it's different generation.
Jose, this kid does have a job, doesn't have nothing. Kid wants a car. Does he buy him a car? No. I don't know.
Man, I tell you, you know what? I hate giving advice in this situation. Here's what if I was Jose.
Why doesn't he have a job?
Well, that's what I was getting at. First of all, the kid's 18. That kid should have a job. He should have better grades. I'm not buying a car for my kid as a C student, no job and no ambition about schools. You're 18. You should already know where you're going to college if you're going to go that route, or you should already. Right? You should have a technical college picked out or a training, or you got to have something.
Yeah, but Dad, I need a car so that I can figure out what I want to do.
No, you have a plan. You can make a plan. Then we'll get you a car. I feel like Jose's got to lay on a little bit of law here.
So why doesn't the kid have a job? 18. I don't know. I cannot relate.
I can't.
I'm 6th grade. I'm delivering papers. I never not had a job. This is the only time in my life I've only had one job, this radio career. Other than that, I never even had just one job.
I had to lie a couple different times about my age so I could get a job. You 16? Yeah, sure. Okay. Nobody checks. You 18? Can you do this? Yeah, sure. I'm 18.
Again, because you're a couple years younger than me, I had to have working papers. You had to go and get working papers. My jobs, they checked. I'm like, can you imagine having to prove something to be a dishwasher? Having to provide paperwork to wash dishes? Like, yeah. I'm sorry. We're not going to let you wash dishes here. You don't have the proper paperwork. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the way it was, for real.
And I was happy to go get that paperwork, and I was happy to lie about my age a lot of times.
What was it? What is working papers? What is it? I can't tell you where I got it from. I can't tell you how the process got started. Who signs off that says, who is this person that says that you're 15, you can go work? Who is this working paper stamper? Where did it come from, Jason? I don't know. I just know I had it.
But you know what's funny is like going back to the car example, like, parents today, well, no, I'm going to get my kid a nice car so they don't get hurt. I totally get that. If you have the means to do that, that's brilliant. And I think it's the right thing to do. Going back to the job situation, my parents were all about me going and getting a job as soon as I could get one. They're like, man, you want shit? Here's how it works. You got to get a job. There you go. End of discussion. I was done. I'm like, okay, well, if that's how it's got to be done, I got to go get a job. So I did it. But nowadays, there's a lot of parents like, no. You worry about your schoolwork. You worry about your soccer. You worry about your band, your dance, whatever your kids got going on. Don't get a job. I'll take care of it now so that you can get a good education in school, get into a good college, and then I'll pay for your college. I'll buy you a car and all those things. It's a different time now. It really is, because it wasn't like that for me or you, obviously. You had to go grind it out. And I think we both learned a lot of good life lessons from it. I'd have preferred to have a car bought for me. I'd have preferred to have all those other things. But I don't know. Jose's, man, you got some work to do, man. I feel bad right now. I don't feel bad for you. I mean, obviously you love your kid. You'll do anything for him. You want to get a cheap car, just know that cheap car is going to come with expensive problems, you know?
True.
You're going to get something at high mileage and, that's dangerous right now. Plus, cars are expensive as shit right now. Even a used car are hard to come by.
Jose, I appreciate you listening to the podcast.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's ever been said on this show where you thought you'd want to ask one of us a question about something like that, but the kid's got to get a job. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I think so.
You gave me an assignment this week. The top 5 bands that we have seen the most live. This gets a little tricky.
Yeah.
It gets a little tricky. But I think I have it down. I think I have it.
No.
I think I have it down.
I don't, because I'm sitting here going through my concert ticket stubs, and what my list was, I think I need to change it because I have seen a lot of cool shit over the years I forgot about.
I would probably change if I had my little ticket thing that I'm again, now you just reminded me, I'm freaked out. Where is it? I'm going to obsess about this right now. I have one other place I could look that I think it might be, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the bands that we have seen the most. And then like your number one would be the band you saw the most. Your number 5 would be the 5th most, right? In that order. We're doing this that way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take a short break. We've got one sponsor on this show, and it's Pirates of the Quarter.
Yeah.
So we're recording on March 9th. Next week is spring break here in Houston for just about everyone. I think Brazoria County here is on spring break this week, but then everyone else is on spring break. So maybe some of you are heading over to New Orleans. Listen, I highly suggest it. I was just there a couple of weeks ago for Mardi Gras. I love New Orleans. Okay. Email me. What do you need? Email me. I'll send it to Jason. Email the Play Pants podcast and Jason will get it. He'll tell you everything you need to know and where to go. If you're going to New Orleans, the one thing that we both can tell you is Pirates of the Quarter. It's a tour that you can take. And it's just a part of your experience of being in New Orleans. And it's a French Quarter walking tour. It's fun. You can drink outdoors in New Orleans. So you're walking around, you're drinking, you're hearing real tales of what happened in the French Quarter. You're hearing stories about where you're standing right then and there. There's no other tour like it in the French Quarter. Grab a drink, walk the streets of the quarter, incredible stories, real pirates, and their involvement and how they evolved and the history, how they played such a huge role in the history of New Orleans. So this tour, I'm telling you, you're going to get done. It's going to trick you because all of a sudden you've learned all these things and it doesn't feel like you're in a history class, but you are because it's so much fun and you're drinking. So there's so much more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street. Save a little time, part of your trip to New Orleans, discover the pirates and the pirate history of New Orleans. Details, piratesofthequarter.com. Follow at Pirates of the Quarter.
These goddamn ticket stubs are driving me nuts right now, Rodney. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to have to go through these and I'm going to just separate them out. It's going to be my project tomorrow. And I'll come up with a real answer for the Play Pants podcast about what we're about to do. I'm looking at this shit. Dude, I saw Bill Cosby. That feels a little dirty right now, by the way. Back in 2002. Yeah, I feel a little weird about that one.
Where was he? In New Orleans?
The Sanger Theater, dude.
Okay.
And I remember he was great. I mean, as long as you're not drinking with him, I guess it's fine. Tom Jones. I mean, I got so much shit. Aerosmith. Oh, I forgot. Jesus. My list is going to be wrong. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right now. My list is going to be way wrong, but I'm going to go with what I got.
Well, I mean, just pull a band. So Aerosmith. Let's do this before we get into this. Aerosmith. I think I've seen them twice. Jackal opened up for him the one time I remember.
Jesus Christ.
Wah, 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 wah.
3 times at least. I saw
Aerosmith.
Twice, I think at the arena, and I saw him at Jazz Fest a few years ago, and it was fucking lights out.
Pull another ticket stub.
All right. Let's see here. Hold on. Let me dig around here. Oh, you know what? Cowboy Mouth. I've probably seen 200 times. Cowboy Mouth from New Orleans. So that's what I said.
When I said it got a little tricky, some of those bands that are club bands / festival bands,
a million times.
My list is going to be a little off. Okay. Papa Roach has played BuzzFest 8 times.
Oh, there you go.
And I've seen them all the times. I mean, at some point I've seen them. I interacted with them. Did I stand there for the whole show? It's not that doesn't count, but I'm talking, for me, it's more about going to shows.
Right.
I've seen Better Than Ezra 100 times.
Oh,
okay.
Shit. Yeah, that's true.
I've seen those guys 100 times and I love them. And I absolutely love them. And I've seen them here too at the House of Blues. But I saw them so many times in New Orleans. They just played a lot, So mine are more, an event, going out and going to a concert, because if you start talking how many times that I've seen Bush or Seether or Papa Roach or these bands that have been a part of BuzzFest, it's a little difficult, but I don't count it because very few of those bands I've sat there and I've watched them from start to finish. So I'm talking about more on my own time, which Jazz Fest would count as that because that's me. That's on my dime. We don't get free tickets to Jazz Fest. At least I don't.
No.
So that's where I'm coming from with my list.
Yeah. Because like all the festival or, like all the radio shows over the years, my gosh, man, I that's a lot of cowboy mouth over the years, which is great. Every time they always put on a great show. I've seen.
I mean, for the longest time, and Better Than Ezra, they played Jazz Fest every single year, and I saw them every year. You know,
I've seen them for 25 years. I mean, I've seen them 25 times. I didn't even think about that. Plus, I've seen them at other festivals. So it's like there's so many festivals here with all these different artists. So it is a tough thing in that situation. But yeah, like you said, the ones that you kind of spent the money, made an event, went to the show. All right, I'm gonna let you go first on this one, man, because I'm still looking through my concert tickets. This is amazing. This is so freaking crazy. Save your concert ticket. Well, you don't even get concert tickets anymore. That's what sucks.
So I've got, and I know that I yelled at you before because we were doing, I think, a top 5 Quentin Tarantino movies, and you had like 9 movies in your top 5.
I cheated,
and that really didn't make sense. But do you agree that there can be ties in this? So there can be more bands. I mean, there's a bunch of bands that I've seen 5 times.
Right. Yeah, it's fine. Just put them all in there. It's your fucking list. Who's going to yell at us? I don't care. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to follow this to the letter. I'm not on this one because this one's a little bit vague.
But I'm telling you why I'm going to have more than one.
Yeah,
so now that we've said that, I'm just making sure that I got this right. In at number 5, at 5 times each. And again, this is at least, right?
Oh, you're naming the numbers at times. Oh shit, I can't do that.
This is number. So, well, I got to put them in order. I got to put them in order for a reason. So I got them in order.
Right.
And then I'm thinking what I can remember. At 5 times each, I've got Iron Maiden and I've got Our Lady Peace.
Oh shit! I forgot
now,
about
Our Lady Peace has been at a bunch of festivals too, and I'm talking about me going to see Our Lady Peace. Our Lady Peace, I've probably seen 4 more times, but I'm talking about me. That's me. It's a ticketed event. I'm going to see Our Lady Peace. At one point, I'm in Buffalo. I'm living at home, and we get on a train and we go see Our Lady Peace New Year's Eve in downtown Toronto. We can freeze our balls off.
Holy shit.
I traveled to go see them. But yeah, I've got them written down. Iron Maiden was one of my early concerts. I'm putting it at 5. It might be more, but they're in the top 5, so I feel good that they're represented. But Maiden is still this unbelievable top-notch band. Just unbelievable how great they are. You've got to go every other tour for Iron Maiden. And here's why. And here's a pro tip for you. They tour on a new album. They're going to play a lot of new shit. The next year, they'll play greatest hits shit. And they do that every other year. And the whole world knows this because they tour all over the world and they sell out stadiums all over the place, but that's how they do it. So you want to get on that every other Iron Maiden. I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I've gone to see them when they play a lot of new shit and they play a ton from the new album. And they're not going to disappoint. They're going to play some other stuff. But they do go out knowing that, hey, we're just going to play fucking bangers. They're one of the best. They're one of the best live bands of all time. Okay, Our Lady Peace and Iron Maiden in at number 5. In at number 4 is, I got them down at 6 or 7 times, the Tragically Hip.
Nice.
Tragically Hip, and that's everything from a stadium. No, never a stadium. An arena. That's everything from an arena to a house of blues. And it all depends on what region of the country that I saw them. I saw them at the House of Blues here. They did not sell out. And then I saw them in Buffalo and they sold 16,000 tickets. It's just a regional thing. I've talked about them 100 times on this podcast. They're probably my all-time favorite band. I've got them down at seeing them. Let's see, that was 6. So I got them, I think 7. I think I got 7 hip shows underneath me, and there'll be no more hip shows. They're done. I did go to one of the last ones before the dude died.
I got at least 4 or 5 with the hip for sure. And actually I saw them a couple of times here at the House of Blues here. And it was right. Well, the House of Blues here is only like, I think at the time it was like 900 people. So it was always close to a sellout. But what a great thing to be able to see a band like that you love, that if you were back at home, you had to go to the damn stadium or the arena to see it. And you're sitting in a club watching it, man. And yeah, no, I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times with the hip. Definitely.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to put Maiden and Our Lady of Peace. I'm going to put them at 6. They tied at number 5 on my list, but 6 times each. Tragically Hip 7. Goo Goo Dolls 8 times. Is it more? I don't know. Probably. But I'm going to put the Goo Goo Dolls at about 8 times I've seen them perform live, and that also does go back to the Continental in Buffalo, where I definitely saw them probably for the first time. And then the weirdest show that I saw for the Goo Goo Dolls, there's a building in downtown Niagara Falls. You would drive right past it. You wouldn't really know. It wouldn't really look weird to you until you got an aerial shot of it. And it's called the Turtle. And it's shaped like a turtle, but you can drive right by it and not really notice it. You have to see it from above. But they did a show with Gangrene and DRI, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. And this is when the Goo Goo Dolls were a punk band.
Right.
So now we're going back to the 80s, late 80s. But yeah, that's probably like 88 that I saw them. And it was 88, I think, that I saw them at the Continental too. Because they were doing some all ages shows.
Jesus, that's so great. I remember seeing the Goo Goo Dolls at, was it Blind Melons or Sinbad's in Buffalo? A couple times. And yeah, I probably got 7 or 8 under my belt with the Dolls, and a couple here in New Orleans, which is always great to see them here, because it's like, holy shit, how great. It's like, because, you know, those guys would be at the station every once in a while. So you knew them. Everyone knew the Goo Goo Dolls in Buffalo. And it's like, when you see them in New Orleans, I'm like, oh, those guys are here. That's so cool. You know, whenever I see a band from back home here in New Orleans, it was like, whoa, you guys are here. This is great. It felt like a piece of home in a weird way. You know, there's always a connection there.
Oh, you know what I just thought of? Because we're talking about festivals.
This could be a long podcast.
Dude, Tragically Hip played Woodstock 99. I saw him.
Jesus.
I saw him on Woodstock 99. So if I got the Hip down at 7, they're probably tied with the Goo Goo Dolls at 8. I'll keep them at 4. I got the Goo Goo Dolls down at 3 because I'm saying 8. That's a conservative number, seeing the Goo. Then I've got in at number 2, I've got the Foo Fighters, and I got that down at 9 shows. I think I've got 9 Foo Fighter shows. And this is going all the way back. This is going back to the Howlin' Wolf, bro.
Yeah.
This is going back to the Howlin' Wolf. But before that, they played the House of Blues. But Weezer, I saw them open for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Obviously, I've seen them headline a ton. I saw them play their big show. It's a big homecoming show. It was 4th of July in Washington, D.C. That's where Dave really grew up. And that was like, he was playing the stadium. And that was the show that he had the broken leg and he had the big throne.
Oh, yeah, the guitar.
So I went to D.C. to go see him. Foo Fighters I am counting the times at Jazz Fest. So yeah, I've got the Foo Fighters down at 9. Foo Fighters are 9 or 10.
Jesus.
And then my number 1 is Kiss. I saw a bunch of goofy Kiss, a bunch of fucking Crazy Nights, Crazy from the Heat, Crazy from the Shade, whatever the fuck. I saw some non-makeup Kiss back in the day.
Some Animal Eyes.
And Kiss. Then I saw some Kiss. Some
Heaven's on Fire Kiss. Some Let's Put This X and Sex Kiss.
I saw some Kiss.
What?
I saw some Kiss. And and then when they put on the makeup, I had to go to Toronto to see it. That was the first time. And I did see Ace and Peter. And that was the farewell tour in 2000, right? Yep. No.
2002? 2-ish? 2000?
No, because I'm in Sugar. I don't remember.
I don't either.
I've got me down at 10. I've got me down at 10 Kiss shows. Foo Fighters are at 9 or 10. This is it's a fuzzy list. It's a fuzzy list, but I think I got my order pretty right though.
It makes sense. That makes sense. But going back to the Kiss thing, we were here in New Orleans, you were here. We moved here in late 96. We were here in 97. We drove to like Lafayette in your blue van.
The Cajun Dome, we went to go see them.
And that was the reunion tour, right? That was when they were all back in makeup. That would have been like 97 probably. Sometime in the winter, 97. We drove all the way to fucking Lafayette. Well, you drove to Lafayette. We saw Kiss, and it was the first time I had seen Kiss, I think, was that night. And you're like, dude, you got to see Kiss. I'm like, all right, I'll see Kiss. And it was fucking the first time you see Kiss. And I was lucky because I got to see them in the makeup, the full deal, the whole band, and the flames and shit. I was like, I was knocked out of my seat. It was so insane. I was like, this is unbelievable. And then I saw them probably 6 or 7 more times. And probably 5 of those 7 times, it was not that good because it was the same show. The only other time I saw Kiss where they were great, when they played Voodoo here on Halloween night years ago. I don't know if I was just tuned up on too much booze, but I was 10 rows back from the stage. Paul Stanley goes flying right over top of my head on a zip line or whatever. And it was
at Voodoo on Halloween.
Fucking great. I think you were here. It was unbelievable, dude. That was just a match made in heaven. It was great.
That was going to be my last Kiss show. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm seeing Kiss. It's Halloween in New Orleans, Voodoo Fest. Okay, these guys have been telling me that they've been retired. The first retirement, the first so long we're done was in 2000. When they put the makeup back on, it was 96. So Davignon and I went to Toronto. I was still living in Buffalo. So it must have been early 96 that we went to go see them. And then we moved. And then it wasn't long after that we saw them again. Like you said, Lafayette and the Cajun Dome. I drove.
Yeah.
Laura Jones went with us.
Yeah, that was cool.
Laura went with us, dude.
Yeah,
she was the midday gal who we just met, and she also wasn't from New Orleans, but it was right when we got there, and we said, "Hey, just get in the car, let's go." It was the last time we all went out, I'm sure, but
I'm pretty sure that was gonna kill it for anybody that got in the car with us.
96 is when they reunited and put the makeup on. Damn,
that's
so
crazy.
yeah. I got 10 Kiss shows. That's my number one. And I did not plan this out. This just happens to be a shirt that I'm wearing. I'm wearing Rock and Roll All Over t-shirt today.
It's just another Kiss shirt on another day, right? I mean, that's what do you got? One for each day of the week? Is that how that works?
I could go a month. I could go a month easily. So I love the guys in BTE. I love the guys in Cowboy Mouth. I'm probably getting up there on some Blue October shows now. The local guys here love Blue October.
Great band.
Great tour. You got to see if it's coming through. Blue October is going to open up for Goo Goo Dolls, like a long tour, like a big chunk of this year. Goo Goo Dolls are taking Blue October out with them the whole time.
Shit,
that's going to be pretty badass.
I haven't seen any New Orleans dates yet. They've skipped New Orleans for quite a few years, man. God, it's just going to be good to go to concerts again. I can't wait. I cannot wait. There's a lot of shows coming to New Orleans, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Even if I've seen that band a million times, I'm gonna go see them again now because it's like you missed it. You missed it for 2 years. It's gonna be great. All right,
I can't wait to hear your list.
It's wrong. It's way wrong right now, but I don't care. I'm going with what I got. I've been making.
Yeah, I might
notes.
change if I find my jar o stubs. I'm trying to think. It's I've seen AC/DC, but I've seen them 4 times.
Here you go.
Van Halen,
dude. You and I went and saw
Zebra.
Zebra.
The Howlin' Wolf. Fuck yeah, I love Zebra.
Howlin' Wolf. $12, baby, to see Zebra back in 2000. That was awesome. But that's what I'm saying. All these ticket stubs are driving me nuts because I'm like, I forgot I saw Zebra.
I think my list is on. I think my list is pretty on. I mean, I've seen Whitesnake 4 or 5 times. I think there's a lot of bands in that 5. You really need to be 6 to be in my top 5.
Yeah, I think I'm at like a lot of 6s, so it's going to be weird. So I'm just going to go through my list.
All right.
Number 5, a band that I've seen quite a bit and don't know why. Motley Crue. I've probably seen 5 or 6 times. And it doesn't make any sense.
I know I've seen them. That's one of those bands like you. I think I've seen them 5 times. It might be 6. I just felt like the bands that were in my top 5, I had just seen them all just a little bit more. So Motley Crue could have maybe. I think I've seen them 5 times.
Yeah, I'm looking at like 3 different ticket stubs right now, and I forgot, and I've seen them so many damn times. The Motley Crue, I was in LA back when they were saying they were done, and I didn't see their final show. I saw the night before this final show in LA. It was great to see them. Vince Neil couldn't sing then, so it sucked. The band was great. They sounded great. They looked great. It just, Vince can't sing, and it's like, damn it, dude, you got to sing. Motley Crue, probably 5, 6, 7 times. I don't know.
Okay.
Something like that. At number 4, and this gets fuzzy, and I'm doing what you're doing. I'm kind of smushing some together to cheat the system a little bit. I've seen the Foo Fighters probably 7 or 8 times, and I've seen Pearl Jam probably just about as much.
Ooh, I've not seen Pearl Jam that many times. Although,
but festivals,
my choice
in Jazz Fest and Voodoo, and they've played Jazz Fest at least once, maybe twice. They've played Voodoo at least once. So I got 3 right there, and I've seen them here. I don't even know when. I've seen them a bunch of times. And the Foo Fighters, I've actually seen quite a few times as well. Probably more than Pearl Jam. Probably 7 or 8 times I've seen the Foo Fighters. Howlin' Wolf, saw them Voodoo, Jazz Fest, went to Texas apparently and saw them in Dallas with the Weezer. And then when they released the Sonic Highways, that documentary where they made that album, they went from city to city doing a different song in each city, and they talk about the city and they wrote the song. They had a New Orleans episode. So they had a debut of the New Orleans episode here in New Orleans at the House of Blues. And I ended up at that show, and it's like 500 people in there. It wasn't even packed. So what they did was they showed the episode, which was just great to see with a bunch of people from New Orleans. You know, everybody screamed every time somebody they knew was on the screen, you know?
Yeah.
And then as soon as it's over, the Foo Fighters get up and rip through a set for 2.5 hours.
Awesome.
It was so fucking cool, dude. So yeah, the Foo
That's
Fighters,
amazing.
definitely a band I've seen a million times. At number 3,
So Foo Fighters is your 4?
kind of with Pearl Jam, but I would have to put Pearl Jam tied with Motley, and then bring down Foo Fighters at number 4 by themselves.
Okay.
I've seen Van Halen a bunch of times.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
I've seen Van Halen a lot. Well, Sammy Hagar, Van Halen, and Roth too, on the tail end of things.
would you give me credit for going? Would you give me credit for going to the Sam and Dave tour as seeing Van Halen?
It's not the same. I mean, you do that. I mean, I've seen Sammy Hagar solo probably 3 or 4 times as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So, lumped together, you're hearing Van Halen songs at the end of the day mostly. So, yeah, they're probably my number 3. But they didn't tour a whole lot. You got to remember, there's a lot of years where they didn't do shit. So had they toured, I probably would have seen them many more times.
Now, keep in mind, you just told me that you think you saw the Foo Fighters 7 or 8 times. You're telling me that you've seen Van Halen 8 or more times. Telling me that they didn't tour as much.
Yeah, probably not.
When you became a fan, I'm just wondering, is it even possible that you saw them 8 times? Because I saw Van Halen a bunch of times too, and I went to go see. I traveled to go see them too a couple of times.
Yeah, I probably got. You know what? I would have to put them to 4. Move the Foo Fighters dub to 3. Yeah, because you know what, you're thinking about it. I guess I'm such a fan. I just in my head I think I've seen them a lot more. It's always the same. It's like Kiss. It's always the same show every time. They play the same song. So,
so you got Crew and Pearl Jam at 5, Van Halen at 4, Foo Fighters at 7 or 8 times at 3. Okay, this is good.
This list is a mess. I mean, I have to put the Goo Goo Dolls in there. I've seen them more than I've seen a lot of bands.
Did you not have them on before I mentioned them?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we saw them a lot.
We saw them a lot in Buffalo, all the bars and the clubs. And I've seen them here a couple of times. Fuck this list, dude. This is a dumb idea.
You came up with it.
I know.
Dipshit.
I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot. I'm going to go through the ticket stubs. You
got Goo Goo Dolls at 2?
Probably at 2. My band out of Canada, the Tea Party, I've seen them probably 7 or 8 times, but not a lot because they don't tour a lot the last few years. But I've traveled to see them. I've gone back to Buffalo 2 or 3 times to see them. I saw them in Buffalo when I was living in Buffalo. I've gone to LA to go see this band. So they're probably in 3. Number 1, I know my number 1. If you eliminate Cowboy Mouth, Better Than Ezra, all the festival bands I've seen over the years, if you eliminate Bush, and all those types of acts that I've seen through the radio station, even Green Day, I've probably seen 7 or 8 times as well. Okay.
See, I haven't seen Green Day that much.
Seen them a ton. They played here a lot. I saw them all the time.
I didn't see them that much. I think I've only seen Green Day twice, 3 times.
You know what band I've seen a lot over the years, and I have no explanation for it?
I think
Cheap Trick.
Ooh, I have seen them a bunch of times.
And look, I'll be dead honest. I don't necessarily love Cheap Trick, but I like Cheap Trick, and
I kind of love them live, though.
They're great live. They're so much fun. I do
kind of love them live. Xander can still sing, so
they're still good.
And he doesn't run the show at all. So he just saves his voice for the singing, and then that fucker will walk right off stage.
Mm-hmm. He don't care.
And then maybe he's sipping chamomile tea, and the guitar player's running the show, and then he'll come walking out, and then he'll just sing another song. Awesome, you know. Yeah, I've seen them a lot. Did I see them? Was it top 5 worthy? Maybe. Damn it.
Cheap Trick is just this weird band that I've had this relationship with over the years, where they come to New Orleans, and it's just I've seen them probably 5 or 6 times just at the House of Blues, and it seemed like I was always there to introduce them. And one of my favorite moments, and we talked about backstage a couple episodes ago, how it's like it's just not that cool. There was one time it was really fucking cool. Okay, I got to go back to introduce Cheap Trick. Okay, cool. I'm at the House of Blues. They're doing 800, 900 people. All good. Go out there. Hey, Ginty here. Here comes Cheap Trick. You know, it's the old pre-announce, you know, coming up in a minute. So I'm standing backstage, and normally you're just trying to stay out of the way of the roadies, right? And backstage at the House of Blues, a lot of times the artists can come right off the street through a back door where they load in all the gear, walk down some steps, make a right-hand turn, and then they're on the stage. And a lot of times the artists will just show up 5 minutes before they go on, because who gives a shit, right? So I'm kind of humming around backstage, chilling, waiting, staying out of the way, trying not to get stepped on by a roadie or hit in the face with a guitar. And the doors open up, right, to the street. And this is not the public access. This is like the artist entrance and all that shit. And this shadowy figure comes walking up the stairs, and he stands at the top of the stairs. And there's a girl on each arm, white suit, the hat. It's fucking Robin Zander.
Yeah, he's a rock star.
And I'm sitting there, and it's like the light was coming from behind him. And I'm just sitting there going, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. This is unbelievable. I'm the only guy on earth seeing this right now. And this is one of the coolest rock star scenes I've ever seen. He walks down the stairs, and I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? He goes, I'm good. I'm going to go out and do some singing now. I go, wow. Hey, not yet, because I'm here to introduce you. He goes, we'll do a good job. I got a big show to do tonight. And that was it. That was my whole transaction. I go out there, coming up in a minute, Cheap Trick, walk backstage. He's standing there. He waits like 2 minutes. I'm like, have a great night. And he goes, you too, buddy. Out he goes to do Cheap Trick shit.
That's awesome.
So like, I've seen Cheap Trick at festivals a billion times. Actually, a couple of years ago, buddy calls me up. He goes, hey, man, can you introduce my band? It was Chris from Supergroup. They were opening for Cheap Trick over at the Sanger Theater. And I'm like, you bet your ass I'll come over and introduce your band. So I'm backstage with the guys in Supergroup, and who's back there checking on all his guitars? The guitar player, Rick Nielsen. You know, he's got like 90 guitars. He plays a different guitar every song. He's out there, and the dude's been doing this for 100 years. And he's looking at every guitar, and he's looking, and he's looking, and he's checking them out, pulling them out of his rack backstage, putting them back in. I walk by, and I'm like, holy shit, you're you, Rick Nielsen. Nice to meet you, dude. And he wouldn't shake hands. He would do elbows.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Hands.
I go, so I'm sitting there like,
got to be careful about his hands.
Absolutely. I go, dude, you're checking out all your guitars? I go, don't you have a guy for that? He goes, they're my guitars. I just went, oh yeah, okay. I suck. I'm leaving. I was like, holy shit. So anyway, he was right. It's his shit. Check it out, you know? So Cheap Trick, for whatever reason, for better or for worse, I've seen at least 10 times over the years. It's bizarre. And I'll see them again. I'm sure when they come to town, I'll end up at their show. It's this weird connection I have with them. It's very weird.
Yeah, this is tough because I forgot a lot. All right, I'm gonna shout out some bands. Just throw me a number, okay?
Yeah.
Throw me a number. How many times have you seen them? You ready?
Yeah.
Godsmack.
Twice.
At least 5. At least 5 times. Yeah.
You know who I've seen? They opened for, or they did a co-headline to Stained. I've probably seen 6 or 7 times now that I think
Stained.
about it. I've seen them.
Offspring.
Not that many times. For whatever reason, they don't play here a lot, and I kind of missed them. I think I've seen them twice, probably a festival somewhere along the road.
I've seen them a lot. I told you Papa Roach because they've played so many BuzzFests.
Right.
POD has played BuzzFest 10 times.
Okay.
Breaking Benjamin, Chevelle, the bands that come through and play BuzzFest. I took them off of my list. I pulled up the Wikipedia for BuzzFest. And I was just looking at Breaking Benjamin is another one all the time.
3 Days Grace, I've seen a bunch of times.
3 Days Grace,
probably.
absolutely.
All those bands toured so much, man. Back, when they were hot there in the early 2000s, I guess.
So Bush is coming in for BuzzFest. It's a tri-headliner. It's Bush, it's Seether, and Papa Roach. Those are our tri-headliners.
It's a great show.
The very first BuzzFest in Houston, before I even moved here in 1995, June 4th, Bush is the headliner of that show.
You know what? I've probably seen them. God, they should be on my list. Probably. I've probably seen them 6 or 7 times over the years. Absolutely. All the festivals I've seen them at. House of Blues, they're there every few years. So yeah, and there's another one I got wrong.
So you and I are still, well, you're probably just getting ready to leave because you're taking off a little before me, but we haven't moved to New Orleans yet. So the first BuzzFest here in Houston, Bush is your headliner. Our Lady Peace is on the bill.
Nice.
Face to Face, Maids of Gravity, Matthew Sweet, who I played in college, Modern English.
Wow. Ned's
Atomic Dustbin, the Nixons, No Use for a Name, Funk Junkies, and POL. Some of those bands I do not remember. But yeah, I mean, you look at those bands, and Bush was the very first headliner of the first BuzzFest here.
I'm still digging around my tickets, and I'm gonna have to put Our Lady Peace on my list somewhere because I'm blown by like 6 different ticket stubs. I saw them in Denver. They played a station show out there. Our Lady Peace,
They're so great live.
Our Lady Peace and Blink 182 the same night. That was a good night. That was a hell of a night. Jesus.
I don't know that I've ever seen Blink 182.
I've seen them twice at least because I saw them obviously that night I just mentioned, and then they played Voodoo one point in time. I saw them; they were great. A little too much goofing around between songs. I thought, they tell jokes in between every song. It's like, all right, just.
I don't think I've ever seen them live.
They're a good band.
That's wild.
Travis Barker. Obviously you love to play the drums, so watching him is pretty spectacular, actually.
Yeah, I've got a lot more respect for him over the years. He really is a great drummer. What he's doing right now is pretty incredible with producing kind of everybody. It's a little weird. I mean, it's starting to, I get it. When you have a stable, you go all the way back to producers and, they had their sound, their signature sound, but his sound is just, he's using the same tricks and techniques for everybody.
Right.
And there's those drum breaks. And then there's the part where it sounds like they jump in a pool and it gets it sounds that way. And then it might go to the treble. And he's doing so much with so many bands right now. But, Machine Gun Kelly, I think we're going to be announcing a Machine Gun Kelly tour coming up here pretty soon. He's going to come. I kind of want to see him.
Oh, I totally would go see him.
I kind of want to see him. I mean, he's getting into that area where it could be douchey. So I kind of want to go see him right now.
When you think about the Travis Barker thing, you're talking about like a lot of it sounds the same. That's good. You want to know why? Algorithms and iTunes or whatever, Spotify. It's all about the algorithms. If you like one song that has that sound, they're going to feed you 900 other ones like that. So Travis Barker's playing the game, man. He's playing the money game right now. And he's climbing on a Kardashian, so you can't fault the guy too much. You really can't.
You can.
You
can.
I mean,
he must like that. He must like that. He had a reality show when he was married to that Shanna Mokler. He had a reality show.
That's true. He did.
And it's him, fucking around with the remote control. How do I, Sharon, how do I turn the channel? There's Travis Barker taking out the garbage. For some reason, people wanted to watch that on TV at some point. So he must be cool with that lifestyle because not everybody would want that, cameras following them around and all that bullshit. He certainly doesn't need the money. So he certainly does kind of like that whole, you're not going to get with a Kardashian if you don't. I'm not saying it's your favorite thing, but you're going to have to kind of approve of all the lifestyle that comes along with that. Even though those idiots got a new show coming up and they're already using him in the teasers for it.
I don't even want to know about it. I don't want to. That kind of shit I just don't get it. I don't want to watch it. I don't ever want to. Oh, Dio. Yeah, saw Dio. I introduced Dio, dude. I got to introduce Dio. Well, not
where?
Him. House of Blues in New Orleans years ago. Oh, you know who I've seen a lot? Stone Temple Pilots. Festivals.
I saw them a bunch of times.
Yeah, dude.
I saw STP a bunch of times, man, and I'm happy about it. Like, thank God. It's like going to see. I saw Chris Cornell a bunch of times. I saw him solo, and I saw Soundgarden.
Yeah, I didn't see him solo. Saw Soundgarden. I only saw Soundgarden one time, and they played Voodoo here a few years ago. And it was one of those things where I was never like huge Soundgarden guy, but I liked them and I respected it. But man, when they busted into Outshine, I lost my shit because it was such a great song that we'd played back in college, and to finally hear it live after all those years, I was like, oh, this is powerful. God, I've seen so many bands now. I think about it. I'm gonna go through my ticket stubs, and I'll have to put my list down. And obviously, I don't have every ticket stub, but AC/DC, where we sat in the worst seats ever. Oof, I don't want to talk about that.
We went to go see them in Biloxi.
Yep. I don't want to talk about that.
And
you're
Pierre got us seats.
Well, in all fairness, here's what happened. You were in Houston, I think, at that point, or no, yeah, because I was programming the classic rock station. AC/DC's coming, or maybe you were here. So I don't know. Either way, you're like, hey, dude, can you get us AC/DC tickets? I'm like, you bet your ass I can. I programmed the classic rock radio station in New Orleans. You're like, do it. I'm like, all right. So what do? I go right to my guy, Pierre, Big Dumb Pete. And I go, dude, get us AC/DC tickets. We're all going to cruise over to Biloxi, man. All right. You got them, Ginty. Here you go. And I'm like, awesome. Sweet. I'm just thinking we're going to sit somewhere, I'm not expecting front row tickets, but I'm thinking at least be able to see the band without binoculars. And I got you, and then our friend Brian, and then Briggs, I think, was with us. So
it was the four of us on that road trip.
It was great. We got hammered. We had a blast. We get in there, and we just kept walking up and up and up, and we kept walking up.
Yeah, there really wasn't like the internet to go look, and I wonder where these seats are at. We didn't. No. You got the tickets. You fucking went to the show, and then you figured it out when you got there where your seats were. We had no idea going into that show where our seats were. I was with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Pete got them, radio station. I'm with the program director here. He's big shit.
Yeah.
So they're not going to put this guy on the ceiling. Oh, whoa. We're back here. We're up and back here. Completely opposite end of the stage, is almost as high up as you could get.
You couldn't get higher. I think we had to like crouch down, and our heads would have hit the roof. You couldn't have been farther away if you asked to be farther away than we sat.
Fucking Pete.
And I'm embarrassed. I'm just dying because here I got you guys, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm the program director. And you know what? That doesn't mean shit.
Right.
Because your guy, Pete, and not really much fault of his. I don't think he knew how shitty the seats were, although I'll never let him forget it. God damn, we sat so far away, like to the point where, AC/DC shows are loud as shit and the cannons are loud. You can barely hear them.
Those about to rock.
Ka-ping.
We salute you. For those about to rock.
It might have been some kid with caps smash him with a stone on stage. It was so quiet. Like we could have a normal conversation while the band's playing. It was so fucking bad, dude.
Sounded like a fucking popcorn fart in church. We were so far away, we couldn't hear anything. Oh, well. Thank you, Pierre.
Yeah, go to
Pierre listens once in a while, I think. I hope he hears this. I'll tell him to listen.
Yeah. And again, I don't blame him because I don't think, and it was, you know what it was too, is it was Mississippi Coast Coliseum. That's foreign land to us. We didn't go to shows over there very often. So
right.
You didn't know. You had no idea. So you know what? Here's the lesson. Check your seats before you go. It was so embarrassing.
The Mississippi Gulf Coast Coliseum. I remember it now.
Yeah, it was a great show. If we'd been able to see or hear it, I'm sure it was great. And then, of course, to this day, I haven't lived it down, obviously.
Well, it was a weird list today, dude. Just because there's drinking involved. I'm trying to think of another list where it's like, okay, let's talk about, the all the times you partied. What? How the fuck are you gonna make a list? And that's what this was. I mean, a lot of times when we all get together, the band is just like some background for all the dumb shit that we're doing. And it helps a little bit when you get a lot of free tickets. And it's a great position to be in to go to see a band so many times that you don't remember. It is one of the great perks of the job that I'm probably misremembering even the bands that are on my list. You could probably add 3 or 4 times that there was that. Oh, that private performance. Does that count? I don't know. Maybe. Right. But yeah, we've done like some Our Lady Peace private performances, and, I've gotten to hang with those guys, and I knew them a little bit over the years. And then I reconnected with them when they came here a couple of years back, and they're like, yeah. And, sometimes they just do that just to get out of the situation. But we were talking about in New Orleans, and they're like, yeah. You know what? You've really kind of been around, and we know that you're a fan. So as they're on stage, I'm in my seat and I'm fucking singing every song. They're like, that's it. All right, bro. We believe you. We believe you. You're a real fan. We believe you. You've been with us all these years. I'm like, yeah, dude, since the first fucking album, for sure.
But that's what's cool about it is like, and I want to make it very clear. I don't take any of these free tickets for granted. Like, that's that I've always appreciated the shit out of my position in radio, because it's like, oh my God, I got into the business originally because of the music. And once you're in the business for a few short days, you realize music doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. But the concerts, that was where we kind of like, okay, this is for us, man. And I've always appreciated the shit out of it. And what's great about it for our situation, Rod, is that, like you said, with Our Lady Peace, how many bands have you kind of grown with through your radio career? Like and it's not a lot of bands anymore because a lot of them aren't around, but so many bands you're like, oh yeah. Like for a while, Matchbox 20 was basically living at the radio station in New Orleans. They'd be there every other week.
Coming through all the time, weren't they?
And it's like, you just knew these guys, it's like, oh, hey dude, what's up? Hey, how you been? Oh, pretty good. Hey, how's your dog? Oh, it's dead, but that's okay. That kind of thing. It was always like,
it's true.
It was always that kind of, you're like, Jesus, I know these guys, but you realize that these guys, and that was always fascinating to me. If you got to kind of know in that 5-minute interview, these people, the more you interviewed them, the more you realize that's just dudes who just play music and they live in a van. You know what I mean?
Who used to come in all the time? You'll remember this. 7 Mary 3. They were always there. We were hanging out with them in their studio, Kingsway Studio. Daniel Lenoir. He had the place on Esplanade. And that was a house years later. Nicolas Cage bought the house, but Daniel Lenoir is this legendary producer.
Amazing.
That he owned a house, and it was Kingsway Studio. And he did stuff for U2, Pearl Jam, Lenny Kravitz, REM. He worked with everybody. And 7 Mary 3, we knew those guys. Like, I don't know how, but we just went to the studio with them or something.
We were out because we were out every night of the week in New Orleans. And there's a place called Checkpoint Charlie's. If you're from New Orleans, you know what that place is all about. It's just a dump right there on Esplanade. And we were in there drinking, and there's always bands playing. We're hanging out. And 7 Mary 3 walks in, and we're like, hey guys, we're like, hey, what are you guys doing here? And it's like, they sat down, we drank beers, we watched these weird bands play. And they're like, hey, we're across the street working on our new album. And we're like, cool. Wow, that's awesome. You want to go check it out? And we're like, fuck yeah, we do. And we cruised over there.
I don't remember how we got there. I just remember just walking around in a daze hanging out.
Yeah, and you're just blown away. And those are the things that we're so lucky to have. And those are things that I've always appreciated. Those little things. It's like when a band comes to the studio, you got to be a professional. You got to be a pro. You got to treat it as a job. But inside, 99% of the time, I'm losing my mind. I'm excited to see these bands, It never gets lost on me, the whole thing. It never does.
All right. Good list, though. Even though I don't know the accuracy of it, but I think it was a pretty good list.
Well, there's going to be people who are like those guys who like travel around following fish, or widespread panic. Saw fish 217 times, man. Okay, cool. That's cool. You like that band that much. You've seen them that many times. You know what I mean? That's fine. I've just seen a lot of different bands over the years, and I love it. I love seeing live music, man. And you can listen to the recordings, and yeah, a lot of times the live band doesn't sound as good as the recording. There's something about being in that room with the other people and feeling the energy and the sights and the smells and the vibe and bouncing off of people and some shit happen around you. That's the way to experience the music, and then the band will feed off it. It's such a great thing. God, I can't wait to go see some bands.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I've gone to see a couple of things. The last thing I went to go see was the Archangels, and Charlie Sexton is the guitar player. He's like this Austin legend. He had a big hit when he was a teenager. Beat So Lonely. He was on MTV all the time. And then Bowie took him out. And then he was a guitar player for Dylan. And, he's just this legendary guy. Did you see the movie Boyhood? What's the movie that takes place in Austin? A lot of it's actually filmed here in Ethan Hawke. And they came back every year to film.
Oh, yeah,
and the kid,
I did see that movie.
And the kid actually grows up in the movie. Everybody grows up in the movie. I mean, Ethan Hawke, everybody, Patricia Arquette, they get older because they physically are older.
Right.
They filmed the movie. It was six or 7 years it took them. They all had to sign contracts. They're in the bar in Atlanta, and Charlie Sexton's on the stage. They're like talking to him. That's Charlie Sexton. He's in that movie.
All right.
But that was the last, I think, live music thing that I went to go see. And it's just seeing live music again. It's so great. It's so absolutely awesome. Guys, go see live music. Depending on how you're feeling. Well, do you have money to go see live music with the gas prices the way that they are? I know it's fuck. If I start hearing bands not going out on the road because of gas, I put up a meme. I put up a meme today on the Rod Ryan Show Instagram, and it just summed up everything. It says, COVID, you can go places now. And it says gas prices. The fuck you can.
No, you can't.
I mean, that's going to affect everything. So I don't want to even talk about the bummer of gas, but go see live music, man. Go see live music. Come in for BuzzFest. Dude, come in for BuzzFest.
When is BuzzFest?
It's Memorial Day weekend.
All right. Let me check my calendar. Maybe that's
throwing it out
idea.
there.
That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind going seeing some music, man. I absolutely want to come see some music. So
I'll get you some tickets. I know a few people. I'll get you all the way up in the back of the lawn.
Upper rear. That's where I'm going to be. Way the fuck back. For those about to rock.
Jason Ginty, any final thoughts today?
Dude, this is going to sound really weird, but
really,
I haven't done a lot of around the house projects recently over the weekend, doing some shit out in the shed. And all of a sudden, it just came full circle. It hit me. Most dudes who can do anything, right? Or, got a shed or a workshop, you know what you got in there? And you can see it. You know where it is right now. A coffee can full of a bunch of random ass screws, nuts, and washers. Somewhere in your garage, you've got that coffee can. Most dudes have it still to this day.
My dad had the coffee can. I think it's still at the house too. It's probably still at my mom's house in the garage. I bet you 100%. I used to know the name of it too. It's like chock full of nuts. Was that a coffee?
That was a coffee. Maxwell House was the big one at my house.
Maxwell House, Folgers, chock full of nuts. Maxwell House, I think maybe that is that.
The blue can. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of cans of bolts at my mom's house. 100%.
Bolts, screws, all of it, man. You had all that shit. Well, I can't tell you how many thousands of times over the years when I was, changing the oil in my car, fixing a bike at my dad's house or my parents' house, that shit was life-saving. I was doing something over the weekend couldn't find a bolt that fit what I was doing. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I haven't been in my shed probably all winter. Walk in there. There it was. The old reliable coffee can full of bolts.
Yeah.
You know what I did? You don't see, in my experience, and every man treats his bucket of bolts differently, right? I'm not the one to be smart and dump it out on the table and then rummage through. No, I got to hold the can in the dark of my shed, like hunched over a lawnmower and not comfortable, and I'm digging around. I can't be smart enough to bring the coffee can, pour it on the counter. No, I'm a digger. I've always dug around in that coffee can. But you know what? 99% of the time, find what I'm looking for. It's unbelievable, that can. And I really don't ever recall ever putting something in it.
Like, now, is this a can? This is a can that you created start to finish, or this was willed to you?
It might have came with my shed. I don't know. It's just there. And I don't ever recall throwing shit in it. I always know it's there when I need something to get out of it, man. The coffee can full of bolts, dude. I don't know why I thought of it. I actually used it for the first time. And I've probably moved that coffee can of bolts over the years across the country. Like, I'll throw out a bunch of shit. I ain't throwing out my can of bolts, dude.
I gotta go look to see. Because I would want that now that I'm thinking about it. It's sitting at my mom's house. I bet you it's still there. It's my dad's. Yeah. It's my dad's coffee can full of bolts, rusted all to shit. Probably. I'm sure of it. Yeah, it's got to be disgusting.
No. And man, a lifesaver. Just a damn lifesaver. You talked to, who's the guy that wrote the email?
Jose. Yeah.
Tell him to get that kid can full of bolts and get him to work.
The kid won't know what the fuck to do with a bucket can full of bolts.
Well, there's maybe the part of the problem right there.
The kid will have no idea what to do with it.
Any final thoughts, Ron?
Yeah, it's something that I had mentioned on the air recently. So, but it ties into what we're talking about. We're talking about going, to go see bands. We got BuzzFest coming up. I'm really, really looking forward to it. We're doing, for the first time in a while, in 2 years, we're doing St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to do a live broadcast next Thursday.
Nice.
And today was the first day that we kind of sat down and, I'm a planner. So even a crazy day like that, I got to have kind of scheduled out where we're going to be doing the different things, where the dude's going to be, the milk, barfing, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be different because it's going to be cold. We're going to be outside for the first time, but we're building over 3 square blocks. We're building like Dublin, dude, like downtown Houston. Nice. Because we don't have a Lucky's anymore. We don't have a place. So the guys from Lucky's, Bud Light, we're taking over a massive parking lot that, believe it or not, we got the Astros to sign off on it. It's right outside of Minute Maid Park. So I said, I'm excited about doing the live broadcast and everything. And it is a lot of work. And I like doing it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But for the same thing, talking about BuzzFest, and maybe it's because I have seen the bands. I've not seen the Who, the HU. Are you familiar with these Mongolian dudes? Mm-mm. You've not heard anything about the Who?
No.
Dude, documentary, everything's on YouTube. Anything you need about the Who, it's the HU. They look like dudes from Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
And they play different looking instruments, and they're like this Mongolian metal band. So they're playing BuzzFest.
Cool.
I'm excited about seeing them because I've never seen them before, and I really do think they're interesting. But it's about getting back and hanging with people. It's the star of BuzzFest for me is everybody walking around, drinking a beer, hanging out, and just being together again. Same thing with St. Patrick's Day. We've got all the bands that we were banging, all the local bands that we were banging on the air for Hometown for the Holidays. We got like 6 of them playing. And, I haven't seen most of these bands. Right. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about so much. Dude, just walking around amongst our people again. It's the number one thing for me. It's more important than the events themselves. It's just seeing people. And I'm telling people, normally I'm telling you, listen, buy your tickets, man. It's Bush, it's Seether, it's Papa Roach. This is awesome. Get your ticket. Fuck that. Get your tickets to come and hang out with me. That's
Right.
it.
That's it.
I'm not even trying to sell tickets right now. But for me, I'm so excited about hanging out with everybody. Like you said, it's the concert experience. It's the whole thing. It's not just, it helps when the music is great. And when you love the band, there's nothing better than it.
Right.
But even when the band's not your favorite band in the world, you know what's my favorite thing in the world? Fucking partying still.
Yeah.
Okay? 52. And I can't wait to get out there and party balls with everybody. I can't wait.
Well, it's like we talked about this before. Mardi Gras. It was kind of that vibe. Like I've told different people the last couple of weeks that like, how was Mardi Gras? It was unbelievable. It was cool. It had this great vibe about it. When you saw people you haven't seen in a couple of years, it was like this great moment. Hanging out with you on Sunday was so cool because we were just hanging out. It was like, wait a minute, we haven't done this in a long ass time. This is foreign territory, man. This is so great. Like we got so many festivals and shows coming up in New Orleans over the next couple of months. I can't wait. I'm gonna go to all of them. I'm not missing anything. Like I can't wait just to be outside and run into people. You know, I was buying shoes the other day, buying new running shoes, and the guys at the store are like, "Hey, wait, you're Ginty?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, we listen all the time." I'm like, "No way, that's awesome. Thanks for listening." You know, it's the first time I've talked to anybody who listens in so long. It was awesome. Yep. It was just so freaking great to be out and do it. And you know what? I think I'm gonna appreciate a lot of it more. I think I'm going to walk away going, you know what? I appreciate this a lot more because we haven't had it in so long. You know, you kind of look at it a little smarter. You know what I mean? And then you know what I'm going to do, Rod? I'm going to come home after every show. I'm going to put it in my diary.
No, you're not.
That way I'll have a memory of it forever.
And I'm going to write my affirmations tomorrow morning.
And I'm going to take a lot of pictures. And no, I'm not going to do any of that shit. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to live for the moment. I'm going to enjoy it. And I hope I remember some of it the next day.
Guys, go out, man. I'm not certainly anybody that's saying, hey, the pandemic is over, but go out. Go out, man. Go see some bands. Tickets are selling like crazy for all these shows. So I know people are doing that. So I think that there are people that are thinking like me. Not only do I want to see bands because I want to see live music again, but just to be out, man, amongst the people and everything. You do what's safe for you, but man, I want to be out. I want to be out.
I do want to walk around like outdoor festivals, especially now in the summertime. There's going to be a lot more of that. I'm totally fine going to an outdoor festival, outdoor show. And there's going to be shows all over, like French Quarter Fest is coming up the next couple of weeks. Then you got Jazz Fest, and there's Bayou Boogaloo, which happens here, which is another outdoor festival on the water. There's so much shit coming up here in New Orleans. I can't wait. I cannot wait to be outside again.
All right, guys, episode 43 in the books. Send us your concerts that you've seen the most. I love reading all of your comments. You can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at PlayPantsPod. And of course, a lot of people do take it over. If you're watching us, people will comment on our YouTube page. So I appreciate that. I love you guys getting involved. If anyone's still listening, make sure you just jot something down to let us know what you're looking at, okay? And let us know what you dig. And if you have any suggestions for any upcoming top fives, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Jason turned down 2 suggestions of mine today.
I did.
And I said, okay, that's all right.
I did. I couldn't do the one because I had zero information, knowledge about it. Chuck Norris.
You never saw a Chuck Norris movie.
I don't remember. When those were all cool, I was like 8 or something. I didn't remember
Friend
watching them.
the fuck off. Friend off.
I don't think
I had no idea. I've known you all these years. You've never seen a Chuck Norris movie.
I mean,
Come
I
on.
may have seen them, but it never resonated. I remember being on TV and my parents watching. I'm going, "What's this?" And they're like, "I don't know, some fight movie." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I
That's cool.
Something else.
It's put me in a box with your parents. That's great. And then what was my other suggestion? Oh, daylight savings time. That's another great thing, dude. That's another great thing that I love that we're going to go to daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Meaning we're going to spring forward and it's going to stay lighter later.
Yep.
And that makes daddy happy. Damn, does that make me happy?
Well, because then you got
I
a little more
don't know why you
time.
guys want to eat dinner in the dark at 5 o'clock. It's stupid.
Most people get up and go to work. Who gives a shit if it's sunny out or not? I don't care because I'm going to work. But man, when I'm done, I want to have daylight in the afternoon and in the evening.
Right?
That's what I want. That's when my kids are home. That's when my wife's here. We can go hang out a little bit.
Why do I have to argue with this? I have to argue people on this. Bunch of morose motherfuckers want to be sitting in the dark all the time. I don't get it.
Vitamin D. You need the vitamin D in your skin. You got to get out there.
Yes.
You got to get in the sun. You got to live a little bit, man. You got to get out there. So yeah, daylight savings time. No, I think your top 5 list was top 5 songs about the sun.
Oh yeah, sun songs, man. I was thinking Sun King, The Cult, Here Comes the Sun,
Yeah, the Beatles.
Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine.
Okay, there you go. We got our 5.
3. What other ones? I didn't even like think to put together the list. Of course, I mean, what's better than Here Comes the Sun? Is there
Can't beat
anything
that
better
one.
than that? That's like one of my favorite songs of all time.
That one gets you excited. That one wakes you up. You're like, oh, that's nice. This feels like there should be birds floating in and putting my robe on for me, like Snow White. You know what I mean?
Dude, not even released as a single.
Didn't need to. It's Beatles, man.
Not even released as like, fucking George wrote that. We're not going to put that out there as a single. It's one of George's songs. We don't put George songs out there, do we? Yeah, dipshit. Guess what? It's the most downloaded Beatles song. Digital. It's the most downloaded digital Beatles song of all time.
It's
So take that, Paul. Take that, John. My favorite Beatle, George Harrison, with the top song.
It's awesome. All right, that's enough tonight. Check out piratesofthequarter.com. If you're coming to New Orleans for the spring break,
Yeah.
if I see the Pirates, do it. All right, till next time.
Bye, guys.